Are you dealing with alopecia, hair loss, or thinning? If you've been diagnosed with any of the above, I want you to stay tuned and watch this video to the end. At the end, I'm going to show you a chart with different areas of your scalp. If you're balding there, it's going to show you where it ties back to an organ or a gland. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. I'm not sure what's going on with IG. I'm glad that you guys are funneling back in. I don't know if you could hear me. I went to post or pin the title for today and I couldn't do anything. It was frozen. So I'm back for the fourth time, but I'm here. All right. So are you dealing with balding, shedding, thinning, right? Hair loss or baldness is referred to as alopecia. And I'm going to share with you the different kinds of alopecia in just a moment, but I want to get started with shedding light on the emotional perspective, and then we'll move more into the physical perspective. So again, my name is Dr. Nicole Brantley. I'm affectionately known as the womb therapist. I help women who have fibroids, PCOS, endometriosis, and those who have trouble conceiving take the option of hysterectomy and other surgeries off of the table and truly get to the root of your healing. Because as you know, a surgeon can cut out everything except for cause. Okay, so we're going to get into the emotional aspect of alopecia or hair loss. Okay, it is fear. So ask yourself, what are you afraid of, right? Are you afraid of moving forward in something? Are you afraid of being left behind? Are you afraid of being left out? What is your fear based in? It's also tension, right? What has you tense? What has your shoulders tight? What has you stressed out? Because that breeds tension. And what are you trying to control? Because it's also trying to control everything. And when we try to control everything, it is a result of us not having trust, right? And that trust is usually in ourselves. We don't trust ourselves to make right decisions. We don't trust ourselves because of things that have happened in the past that didn't pan out or didn't go the way we thought that they should go. And so as a result, we have trust issues. We also could be dealing with neglect, abuse of some sort, and abandonment. And as a result of that, we don't trust. So we try to control everything because when we needed people the most, when we needed things the most, we were left out, we were abandoned, we were neglected, we didn't receive those things that we need. And so now as adults, we overcompensate and we try to control everything, all of the narratives. I'm going to do this myself. If I don't get it done, it's not going to get done. If I don't do it for myself, it's not going to be right. So it's an overcompensation. It's actually a trauma response to being neglected, abused, or abandoned, right? And so we have to unpack that. We have to sit with those emotions and we have to understand that we don't have to be like that in adulthood. Let's deal with the trauma, let's deal with the wounds and move on past that, right? So that's what baldness is from the emotional perspective. It is fear, it is tension, it is trying to control everything. You can't control everything. Learn how to allow things to be. Right? Learn how to let things be, especially people in your life. It doesn't matter in what capacity you're in relationship with them. Allow people to be who they are. See how they show up. See how they treat you. And then you decide if that is somebody that you want to keep in your life or if that's somebody you need to let go. And we need to start doing that sooner than later. Talking to myself. Okay? That patience and letting go of people early has been my lesson for a long time. Just shedding some personal information there with you. All right. So emotions linked to hair loss, anger. Who are you angry at? What are you angry about? Sit with that and really unpack that to release whatever that is that's no longer serving you so that you can stop being angry, right? Because anger is acidic. It's like eating a piece of meat. And you don't want that kind of energy flowing through your body. All right. Anxiety. What has you anxious? What has you fretting? What are you like, one thing is your adrenals can be worn down if you drink a lot of coffee, if you eat a lot of chocolate, if you take in a lot of stimulating things or caffeinated things, those things can wear your adrenals out, but so can stress and another number of other things that we'll get into. But what has you anxious? Right? Is it your environment? right? So we have to get to the root of that, because these are emotions that are linked to hair loss. Decreased confidence. Why do you have decreased confidence? Why are you not confident in yourself? What was that thing that took place? What was that event that happened? And it's back here in the back of your head, and all you do is pull from that every time you bump into something or come into a situation or a circumstance that makes you feel like, ooh, am I good enough for this? Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if I can pull this off. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm good enough for this person. I don't know if I'm good enough for this relationship, right? So where did that decreased confidence come into play? Get to the root of that, unpack it, release it. Depression is another emotion linked to hair loss, right? And that's because of the things that may be going on in the body. Embarrassment, right? Maybe you did something in your life that you're not proud of. It got put on display. You were somehow exposed. And as a result of that, you are embarrassed. That is a link back to hair loss emotionally. Okay? A reduction in work and sexual performance. Suicidal tendencies, right? Feeling like, I don't know, making a permanent decision for something that's happening temporarily in your life. How can you get past this? This is the part of reflection that we need to address. Suicidal tendencies and social withdrawal. So tending to be alone, to be by yourself, staying in the house, not being social, not going out, not doing things that, just being with yourself, not really talking to your coworkers, not really hanging out or having friends. These are the kinds of things that are linked back to hair loss. So emotions linked to hair loss: anger, anxiety, depression, decreased confidence, embarrassment, reduction in work and sexual performance, suicidal tendencies, and social withdrawal. All right. So let's get into the different kinds of alopecia, because that's what we're talking about today. I can't pin the comment. It jacks up the live every single time, and I'm not going to re-record this again. So bear with me. We're talking about alopecia, hair loss, and thinning. All right. So alopecia totalis is one kind of alopecia. It is loss of hair on the scalp. Right? So if you see somebody who has a completely bald scalp, sometimes it looks like it's burned and shiny. And that is because acid is in the head cavity, damaging and destroying and burning and chewing on the follicles, causing your hair not to grow there. And that is a systemic lymphatic constipation issue. You have lymph backed up from head to toe as a result of your diet, right? A diet very high in acidic foods. So those are the things that you're going to need to put down. You can absolutely reverse alopecia totalis. Okay? We have to clean up the head cavity. We have to clean up the bowels. We're like a tree trunk. The things from the top cannot flow down if there's blockages down below. A lot of people have a lot of undigested waste, 30, 40, 50 pounds of waste full of SHIT, if you will. And so when we remove that, the head cavity can drain, right? And we can start to do things, see different things happening. Start to see the hair grow back, start to see it grow back thicker, all of those things, all right? So alopecia totalis, loss of hair on the scalp. And please understand that your scalp is an extension of your skin, and it absorbs into your bloodstream, whatever it is that you put on it. All right. So what are you putting on your scalp? Are you wearing the braids? Are you wearing the wigs? Are you wearing the weaves? Are you using the got to be glued? What are you doing to your scalp? And we're going to get into that later. I don't want to belabor the moment on that. I'll talk about that when we're talking about factors of hair loss. So that was alopecia totalis. Alopecia universalis is a loss of all body hair. No hair on your arms, no hair on your legs, no hair on your back, no hair on your chest, no eyebrows, no eyelashes. Also, systemic lymphatic congestion, acid burning and chewing on the follicles in your body. Okay? You have high levels of acidosis present. You're probably dealing with other diseases or other issues. Okay? So that's alopecia universalis, loss of all body hair, including eyebrows and eyelashes. Alopecia areata, That is hair that falls out in patches. So it's not completely bald, but you'll have patches where you have hair falling out. Stay to the end because I want to show you a chart that if you have hair falling out in certain areas, which organ and gland needs to be addressed. Okay? So that's alopecia areata. A lot of people have that. They might have balding in the front. They might have it on the sides. They might have it in the crown. They might have it at the nape, but they don't have it all over, okay? That is alopecia areata. Androgenic alopecia, also known as AGA, is male pattern baldness. So a lot of males will see that crown area start to dissipate, and it's getting younger and younger, okay? Some of that is hormonal, right? Some of that may be hereditary. We're going to talk about that. So some factors of hair loss include hormones. Hormones is one of them. If your endocrine system is out of balance and you have, like the pituitary gland is not communicating to the other glands to tell them what to do because it's a master gland, you don't have order in the body, right? We don't have order within the glandular system. So things are all over the place. Nobody's able to give instruction and nobody's able to follow instructions. So the hormones could play a factor. Heredity, is another factor, especially with that AGA, the androgenetic alopecia, male pattern baldness. Aging can be a factor, right? But I always say this, just because you get older doesn't mean that you have to lose your eyesight, doesn't mean that you have to lose your hair, doesn't mean that you have to lose anything. When you take care of your body, right, you can still look very youthful, still have hair that's not gray, still have nice skin that's not wrinkly, it's tight and it's supple. You have to take care of yourself. Want to know one of the main things that age us really fast? The food that we're eating that's highly chemically laden, right? Recreational activities such as drinking and smoking ages you really fast, right? So, and I have a live on that, so go check it out. 5 things that age you really fast. Acidosis in the head cavity, as I talked about, is another factor of hair loss. And then because you have that acid that's chewing on the hair follicles. And I want to say this, AGA also happens in women, usually after menopause, okay? And that is because the woman is dealing with a lot of acidosis, decreased estrogen, and other things that could potentially cause that. And some women also lose hair 2 to 3 months after giving birth, because hormonal changes prevent normal hair loss during pregnancy. So after you've given birth or had a baby, things are starting to try to line back up and get back to normal. And you can see hair loss usually on the sides, usually on your edges 2 to 3 months after having a baby, because you weren't able to lose hair during pregnancy. And so the body is kind of catching up and it's like, oh, we didn't lose hair. And most women lose hair on the sides. Other factors of hair loss is acute illness. So if you fall ill, there are things that can happen internally that can cause you to lose hair. Poor circulation, right? Which comes from acid constricting the vascular system, and other things are at play. But constriction of the vascular system, which causes less blood to flow through, which in turn creates poor circulation throughout the body, right? Not just in the scalp area, but throughout the body. So poor circulation is another factor. Radiation exposure. If you had a breast cancer diagnosis or any kind of diagnosis that you got treated with radiation, understand that radiation radiates throughout the body unless you give it a way out, okay? Radiation exposure is also the microwave. If you're still eating from a microwave, stop, right? People like to say it's controversial to talk about the microwave. It ain't controversial. Why are you taking in radiation exposure? When you put chicken, macaroni and cheese and whatever else you're warming up in, that's not what comes out. Your food is completely radiated. It looks the same, but it's not the same. The technology that you just used is now infused into your food, and that's what you're consuming, radiation. Also, your cell phone. Try to talk with it on speaker, not constantly holding it, not constantly having it up to your ear, because that radiation, which we're on 5G now, is flooding and penetrating into your body. All right. So radiation exposure can have your hair falling out. Skin diseases can have your hair falling out, because when we have skin diseases like eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, hives, and the like, all of those skin conditions. It's acid leaving through the skin because the kidneys are not filtering enough of your acid or your waste for it to leave through your pee, through your urine. So now the skin, the third kidney, is going to start to take on the brunt of things and try to excrete those toxins. And it's acidic. When it is accompanied by itching, it's also fungus present. Okay? So skin conditions can be a reason for hair loss. Pharmaceutical drugs, right? Including one of the main ones, chemotherapy, which does not treat cancer. Doesn't. You're putting acid on top of acid, creates a burn. Just think about how strong chemotherapy is. When you bring chemotherapy into your body, most people have lost their hair by the second time that they've gone to get treatment. Imagine what that acid is doing to your tissues for it to wipe your hair out in that way. Okay? I want you to think about that. So pharmaceutical drugs, to include chemotherapy, can contribute to hair loss. Stress. Who or what is stressing you out? In what capacity can you get this thing out of your life or figure a way out how to navigate around that thing and bring peace and calm and stress-free to your life, right? Because sometimes we can't get rid of the stress. It's our kids, it's our spouse, it's different things, right? No shade, but you have to learn how to navigate that. And then there's also high stress level jobs. Is that your calling? Or are you doing it for money? You got to decide, because is it worth the stress that is killing you? Stress is a killer. Takes you right up out of here. All right? Stress is another factor of hair loss. So is poor diet. It's a major one. It's huge, right? Standard American diet has us aging, has our hair falling out, has our body deteriorating, taking us out of here, has us obese. I won't go on. That is one of the factors. Deficiencies in vitamins and minerals and trace minerals because our soils are depleted. Could be why you're losing your hair. You're deficient in certain minerals that you need. All right, so I suggest running a panel to see what you're deficient in. Sudden weight loss, right? Because something could be going on internally and you lose weight suddenly, which also contributes to hair loss. Okay? High fever, iron deficiencies, if you've been diagnosed with anemia, right? And your hemoglobin is not what it needs to be, that can be contributing to your hair loss. Diabetes could be contributing to your hair loss. And if it's type 2 diabetes, it is all lifestyle. It is what you are eating. That is a lifestyle disease. Type 1, pancreas is involved. Helps you to metabolize sugar. When it's weak, it's not doing it properly. That's usually hereditary, you're genetically weak, and that's been passed down to you. Okay? But you can correct it when you correct the pancreas and some other things. So diabetes could be a contributing factor, and thyroid disease, specifically hypothyroidism, can contribute to hair loss. Okay? Unnaturally, heavily chemically laden hair products. That's the new age reason for hair loss. Okay? Got to be glued. We got this glue that we are ripping our edges out with because the wig, the lace front got to lay a certain way. Not only did I tell you your scalp is an extension of your skin, it absorbs into your bloodstream anything that you put on it. Why are we using this got to be glued like it's going out of style? Why are we using all of these relaxers and these different chemicals that we now are in the know about what it does to our body? Okay? So wigs, weaves, braiding hair contain lots of chemicals, right? So that could potentially be soaking into your scalp. And I know you're like, Nicole, what you got in your hair? I have a crochet set. It is not touching my scalp, okay? Because my hair is braided down. It is crocheted on top of that, right? So I'm not really dealing with chemicals getting into my bloodstream in that way. But I'm talking about all of these different hairstyles that we're doing, all of these different products, hair products that we're using. Read your labels. The beauty supply store is another one of the most toxic places that you could enter. Super toxic. All kinds of ingredients inside of your hair products. And 9 out of 10, you're probably having allergic reactions to it, right? So unnaturally chemically laden products. And if you're dealing with severe alopecia, you definitely want to be mindful to use natural products with no crap in them, right? If you could eat it, you could put it on your scalp. That's a key right there. All right, so let's talk about some solutions. Some of the things that you need to be doing to reverse hair loss is you need to be eating foods rich in biotin, or at least supplement with biotin for healthy hair, skin, and nails. So some examples of biotin-rich foods: green peas, lentils, oats. I only suggest oats if they are glyphosate-free. This is not an ad. I'm not getting paid. The only place that I know that sells them glyphosate-free is Costco. Sunflower seeds or sunflower seed butter, and walnuts. Those are some examples. But do your due diligence. Go and search foods high or rich in biotin. See what pops up. Start to incorporate those into your diet. Okay? Do not eat food with raw eggs. Stop eating cookie dough. That's not food for the human species, right? And there's plenty of other things that raw eggs are in. And sometimes people eat raw eggs because they're told, oh, it's protein, oh, it's this or that. Do not eat foods with raw eggs. First and foremost, you subject yourself to salmonella infection or poisoning. And 2, it is high in avidin, a protein that binds biotin and prevents it. I can't even talk. A protein that binds to biotin and prevents it from being absorbed. Okay? So that's why you want to stay away from raw eggs. Use natural hair products, especially in severe cases of alopecia. You want to massage your scalp every day. Okay? That is another thing that you want to do. You want to lay head down on a slant for 15 minutes a day with your feet elevated to allow blood to flow back to the scalp, right? So you want to help with that circulation. Make sure there's blood flow there. That's also why you want to massage the scalp, okay? You want to be careful, again, with using products that are not natural on the hair, because you can be dealing with allergic reactions to chemicals in these products, and that occurs frequently, right? Alternate among several different hair care products using only all natural and pH balanced formulas. That is hard to find today, but it's not impossible. All right. Also avoid rough treatment. So do not use a brush or a fine tooth comb or a towel dry your hair really harsh, right? You got to be very gentle with your hair when you're dealing with alopecia because, your follicles are getting chewed on and it may be thinning you out. And so it makes it easier for breakage to happen. Also, do not use a blow dryer or overheated appliances on your hair. Let your hair air dry naturally. All right. Do not comb your hair until it's dry, as wet hair tends to break off more easily. And you can use a pick to put your wet hair in place over combing. All right. So those are some suggestions that I wanted to share with you. That was that for that. So I want to show you the chart now that I had you wait to the end for. And I got to show it to you from another device because I couldn't get my printer to print it for whatever reason. All right. So do you see this chart? All right. So right here, the two sides, that is the kidney and the bladder. So if you're dealing with hair loss on the sides of your head, your kidneys and your bladder need work. They are compromised. Okay? So hair loss, alopecia in those areas, you're talking about a kidney and a bladder problem. So you have to get the kidneys filtering, right? Get the adrenals pumping to help them filter. Your kidney and your bladder needs work. Look at that middle piece right here, that frontal lobe. That is congestion in the lungs. Your lungs are compromised and you need to clean out your lungs. All right. So maybe you deal with upper respiratory issues. Maybe you have COPD. Maybe you have a cough that's nagging and you can't get rid of it. It's a dry cough because you can't cough up the mucus because the mucus is so hard that you can't expel it. We got to start doing some work to rehydrate the body so that mucus can loosen up, right? And at the first sign of allergies, stop taking Sudafed and Allegra D and all of these things that are locking in mucus, okay? And that's what will have your lungs congested. Also eating lots of dairy, which is the #1 mucus forming food on the planet, right? So if you're dealing with hair loss right here in the center, frontal lobe, that is the lungs. All right. Right behind that, not quite the top of the crown, but right behind that frontal lobe, top center, that is the heart and the liver. The liver is fatty, stagnant, congested. You're eating a diet too high in seed oils. You're eating a diet too high in fat and grease and oil, right? Clogging and congesting your liver and your heart, because as a result of that poor circulation that forms, it's having a hard time pumping blood back to the heart. So your heart and your liver are compromised, congested, having issues right behind this frontal lobe, right here in this area. If you're balding there, it is your heart and your liver that need to be addressed, okay? And right behind that in the crown center, usually where there's male pattern baldness, it could be in that heart liver area, but it's usually in the intestines area, right? And I'm going to shed some light. I'm going to share the book that this photo comes out of. I'm going to give the author a shout out. Intestines are impacted with waste. You got to clean the colon, okay? That's what that means. So these are the areas where you're seeing balding, thinning, and shedding, and possibly graying, right? Changing of hair color, changing of texture, dry, brittle hair. It's a result of diet. It's a result of congestion, lymphatic congestion in these areas. And when you are congested in your head cavity, you have lymphatic systemic, meaning throughout your body, congestion, right? What does congestion mean? It's impacted. The waste is not moving. All right. So that photo, which it doesn't look like this in my book. That's why I wanted to show you that diagram. That photo comes from an old version of this book. Your body never lies. Okay. Kushi, shout out to him. And I'm going to share some things that he says in this book as it relates to hair. I'm in the hair chapter, right? Like I just showed you how on that chart, he says in the front, that's your kidney, your bladder, and the excretory system and its functions. On the sides, side B, the lungs, the large intestines and their functions. Top C, the heart, the circulatory system, the small intestines and their functions. And you can see the chart on here. This is the chart in the new book, right? D, right back here, the spleen, the pancreas, the stomach and their functions. And E, back here, is the liver, gallbladder, and their functions. So everything ties back to an organ or a gland. So quickly, if you're dealing with a lot of split ends are a manifestation of yin condition, because you got to understand this is Chinese medicine. So they believe in yin and yang. So follow me, stay with me here. Split ends are a manifestation of a yin condition of differentiation or branching out, and indicate that the inner region of the body is affected by an overconsumption of yin foods. Listen up. Overeating in general, including sugars and sweets, oils and fats, fruits and juices. And they're talking about the Minute Maids. They're talking about the Simply brand. They're talking about the sugary brands. We're not talking about fruit sugar. We're not talking about juice that you go and juice for yourself. We're talking about over-the-counter, refined, made in bulk juices, okay? Fruits and juices, and a lack of hard, fibrous grains, vegetables, and seaweed, as well as properly balanced minerals. This condition especially reveals that the ovaries and the uterus The prostate gland and the testicles and the reproductive function in general are not in sound condition. If you're dealing with split ends, that is what that is a manifestation of. You are eating an overconsumption of too many yin foods, right? And I'm going to take fruits out of there because I know that fruit is healing to the body. So juices, sugary juices, okay? So sugar and sweets, oils and fats, juices, a lack of hard fibrous grains, vegetables and seaweeds, as well as properly balanced minerals. All right. Gray and white hair. Gray and white hair develops naturally with age. This is a good example to demonstrate that an excessively yang contracting physical condition produces this color. If excess animal food or overcooked vegetable foods are eaten with a relatively large volume of salt and minerals and without sufficient fresh leafy vegetables, this color can occur easily. Right? So you're missing chlorophyll. You're not eating enough dark leafy greens. You're just over consuming animal products and cooked vegetables, not raw vegetables. This is why we got to bump up our raw food intake, right? The consumption of gray sea salt or baked and roasted flour products treated with salt can also produce this condition. We eat nothing but floury products in the United States. In the US of A, everything got salt on it, right? So this is why gray hair is at an all-time high. It is also a sign of a copper deficiency. So as the gray hair turns gray or white, the liver and the gallbladder function become underactive, and the personality becomes more determined, more rigid, and stubborn with a narrow mind. All right? That was gray and white hair. Wet and dry hair. The consumption of liquid, including all beverages, fruit juices, and other liquid used in cooking, produce more wet hair. In this case, the circulatory and excretory functions are overactive, with overactive and frequent urination. On the other hand, dehydration results in brittle hair, okay? Dry hair. In this case, in addition to liver and gallbladder functions, the functions of the spleen and the pancreas are also abnormal, with stagnation in the circulatory and respiratory functions. All right, quickly, oily hair, overconsumption of fat and oil from both animal and vegetable sources, but not to the extent that fat accumulation underneath the skin prevents perspiration, produces oily hair. The fats and oils that cause this type of hair are more of an unsaturated kind. Okay? In this case, mucus accumulation may be proceeding in the lungs, in the intestines, and the reproductive organs due to the increased fatty acid content of the bloodstream, resulting in underactivity of the respiratory, digestive, and reproductive functions, and producing general fatigue and laziness. All right? And then dandruff. Dandruff is an elimination of excessive food. Your toxins, your waste are trying to leave through your scalp, as I said earlier, especially proteins and fats. That results in peeling skin, right? So if you feel like you got little things you got to keep peeling on your scalp, you got an overconsumption of proteins and fats that are leaving through your scalp because not enough waste is leaving through the kidneys. It can be caused by overeating in general, or by the overconsumption of any kind of animal foods, meats, dairy, cheese, or by oily and fatty foods of both animal and vegetable quality. Dandruff indicates physically disorders in the kidneys and the excretory functions, right? These are your things that excrete waste. Your kidneys excretes urine. Your lungs excrete mucus, right? So your bowels excrete waste, right? The waste byproduct from your food that wasn't absorbed and utilized. And psychologically, a changeable mind, indecisiveness, excitability, and a shorter temper. Okay? That's what you could be seeing in yourself or in a person that you know that's dealing with dandruff. All right, hair loss. Hair loss is common among modern societies. It can occur in patches or in one of three general types of baldness. All hair loss results from one or two major causes as discussed below. And that's the three were alopecia totalis, hair loss of the scalp, alopecia universalis, which is all over, including eyes and eyelashes and eyebrows, and then alopecia areata, which are the patches. So hair loss at the fronts, sides, which I showed you on that diagram, is due to the expansion of tissues caused by the overconsumption of liquid and other yin foods and drinks, including all beverages, juices, soft drinks, sugars, sweets, stimulants, chemicals, drugs, medications, raw vegetables, tomatoes, eggplant, and other vegetables of tropical origin. In this condition, the heart and the circulatory functions, the kidneys, and excretory functions and the reproductive vitalities are declining. Okay? The digestive functions, especially intestinal activities, may also be underactive. Mentally, there is a tendency to be more conceptual and intellectual rather than practical and materialistic. All right? On that central region, hair loss in the central region of the head, which was right behind that frontal lobe, it arises when there is an overconsumption of yang foods, including meats, poultry, eggs, dairy, and in some cases, fish and seafood. Animal protein, heavy saturated fats, lots of salt, and dry foods cause this type of baldness, right? And that is to include the male pattern baldness. In this case, the heart, the liver, the pancreas, and the reproductive organs are gathering an accumulation of fat and mucus, resulting in hardness and rigidity in the muscles and in the tissues. Are you stiff? The condition tends to produce cardiovascular disorders, chronic digestive troubles, and the formation of cysts and tumors. Okay? Wherever they're forming in the body. Mentally, it shows that you are more aggressive, offensive, and determined attitude with an orientation toward practical and materialistic thinking. All right. On the front and central regions, hair loss in the front and central regions of the head, front and central, covering both the area A and B, right? Like you can see in this picture right here, A and B. Is caused by a combination of the two conditions described above. So both extremes of heavy yang animal food and yin food, such as sugars, juices, chemicals, and drugs, and a lack of balanced nutritional factors from grains, beans, vegetables, and seaweed, which I don't agree with all of those, right? Because we know that beans are a dead food, and grains can cause pain. And if you are a diabetic, you should not be eating grains, especially white rice that breaks down to sugar, okay? Therefore, a variety of physical symptoms arise, including acute and degenerative diseases. Mentally, there's a tendency to develop a schizophrenic condition, changes of mood, irritability, with a lack of steadiness, lack of patience, lack of generosity, and a lack of compassion and perseverance, okay? So, losses and patches. Hair loss and patches may arise temporarily in a certain area of the head due to one or two types of food, as described above. The location of this kind of hair loss indicates a temporary disorder in the corresponding region of the body. For example, hair loss and patches at the top of the head near the hair spiral is due to a sudden overconsumption of animal food, disturbing the functions of the small intestines. If the hair loss occurs at the sides of the head, it is caused by a sudden intake of large amount of animal fats, dairy products, and vegetable oils. So there we go with those seed oils again. That was the kidney and bladder area on the sides, right? Also fruit juices, which is temporarily disturbing the function of the lungs. So that is what I wanted to share with you about hair loss, alopecia, and thinning. The last things that I was reading is coming from this book, Your Body Never Lies, by Michiko Kushi. All right. So if you're just tuning in, make sure you go back to the beginning and watch. I'll show the chart one more time for those of you who are just coming in here, if it allows me to do so. All right. This is the chart that we looked at originally, and then I showed you a chart from the current read. So that is what this is looking like. This is what we were talking, the different areas that your alopecia or your hair loss or your thinning ties back to. which organs and glands are compromised, what kind of yin or yang foods you're eating. If you're on drugs, prescription drugs, chemotherapy, got radiation, things of that nature, eating things with raw eggs. So be sure to start eating biotin-rich foods. Be sure to join this next group detox where we're going to be eating raw foods and not cooked foods, unless you're like, I can't just jump into raw, Nicole, so I need to taper down. We're going to modify that for you, and you're going to have one cooked meal a day. That group detox program starts on Monday, June the 3rd. I have a lot of inquiries. I do not have a lot of people in that group. And I know that people need to be in there. So it frustrates me because when people bring things for you to be well, right? When they take the time out to do things for you to get in a state of health, because you're constantly in the DM, you're constantly asking questions, you're constantly looking for free information. That's not how I eat. That's not how I do business. I don't do business in the DM. I do business in my programs. Join the program, book a consultation, get the information that way, because you don't need to just know the why. You need to know how to fix it. You need to know how to correct it. And it goes deeper than what I'm going to share with you on a live. I'm always going to give you value, but you have to go deeper. You have to dig deeper, right? Do you have a thyroid issue? Are you dealing with iron deficiency anemia? Do you have thyroid disease, right? Are you stressed out? Are you dealing with fear, tension, and trying to control everything in your life because you haven't recovered from abandonment and neglect and abuse from your childhood? You got to unpack these things. Herbs and Spice says people overlook stress and emotions in addition to foods and daily choices. Absolutely. She says, great share. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here. And thank you for following, right? Share this video out. Sharing is caring. We got to get this information out to the masses. We are sick because we are not in the know. We don't have the knowledge. And what does your Bible say? People perish for a lack of knowledge. We know everything going on with Cardi B. We know who's pregnant. We know who broke up. We know the latest Prada. We know all of these things that don't mean anything if we don't have good health in our body. Understand your body the way you understand celebrity news. Eat on and chew on and read on information about your body the way you go to TMZ and all of these things for breakfast, and you're eating that. You're putting that in your body first thing in the morning, okay? Not a proponent of it, because whatever you bring in forms your thought processes and your beliefs, and ultimately what shows up and manifests in your life, right? So we have to do better when it comes to that. We have to do better. So again, if you're dealing with alopecia, balding, thinning, hair loss in any way, these things can be reversed, right? I was watching a show this weekend that prompted me wanting to come and talk about alopecia, and the person was dealing with embarrassment because of things that she has done in her past, right? That have been exposed and the world knows, and they can go Google her and see certain things. And she's embarrassed about it now. She did it in her 20s. Now she's in her 30s and she has a different mindset, right? So she's doing that. And she's like, oh, I'm a brunch person. I'm going to always eat my brunch. She ain't willing to let go of her bacon. She's not willing to let go of her. Foodies for me are food junkies. That's what that means. Food and junkie put together is a foodie. You are addicted to food. You have a food addiction. And it's because of all of the chemicals that are being put in our food, right? That are in our environment that are keeping us stuck. We have to detox away from these things. We have to detox our bodies. We have to detox the wrong parasites and bacterium out of our body, and the fungus and candida. Go back and watch yesterday's video if you didn't listen to that yet. Go understand what needs to be done. Okay, so she was not willing to change her diet. She's wearing all kinds of wigs and weaves, wearing the got to be glued. Those things are heavily chemically laden. So she has severe alopecia. And when they showed a picture of it, they flashed a picture on the screen, it looked like she was burned on one side of her head. Still had hair, still braiding this part down, but it looked like a burn. It looked like clean. It was awful. And that's coming from the acids. That's coming from the embarrassment. She has a lot of negative energy running through her body. In this show that I watched with her in it, she was very controlling, right? Very short-tempered, very demanding, could be very nasty. The things that he mentioned in here, right? In this book, Your Body Never Lies. The body never lies. It keeps score. And it's going to always tell you when something is out of balance. Chew on that so you can understand your body's language and say, oh, that's a sign I need to stop doing X. I need to stop doing Y. I need to stop doing Z. And I need to get my body in order. So I hope that you guys join me. I had a lot of inquiries. I had a lot of people asking questions about if you have to show up at 7. Nope, that's the way my website listed in order for me to create sessions. It looks like we're going to be meeting from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Nope, that's not the case. That's how I create sessions. You come into the private Facebook group at your own leisure. It's going to be high on the education side. We're going to be doing a lot of raw food, high raw eating, lots of fruit eating, recipes shared, videos dropped. It's going to be chock full of information, and you're going to have tools to take with you long after the program is over. All right. So I look forward to seeing you guys in that group that starts Monday. You got to join now so you can get in there and start mentally preparing. Order your kit if that's what you're going to do. The kit is what has the parasite fungal cleanse, the capsules that are going to help you restore gut function, your nourishment. If you're like, what do I eat? You're going to have 2 powders to make different drinks, okay? You're going to have something that's going to help you with deeper REM sleep because your body heals best when it's at rest. You have to get deep REM sleep in order for organs and glands to reset and for your body to heal. Too many people have insomnia. Way too many people don't sleep at night, right? Or if you work at night and you're asleep during the day and you're not getting sun and your circadian rhythm is off, there are a lot of things that play into it. Right? And we have to begin to do the things that we can do to help offset some of these things. So if you're dealing with alopecia, if you're embarrassed about it, if you're wearing wigs and weaves to cover it up, if you're spraying got to be glue so that your lace front can sit just right, you're flooding your body because your scalp is an extension of your skin with tons of chemicals that are accumulating in your body and are making you sick, making you acidic, constipating and stagnating your lymphatic system. The trash is not being taken out. This is why detox is the only true and logical way to cleanse your body. Get into it. Get into it. You have to do something different because if what you were doing was working, you would not be sick. And if you're sick, you're not healthy. You cannot have health and sickness at the same time. You can't do it. Okay? So come and learn how to eat high raw. Come and understand the importance of juicing. Come and understand why it is that we need to be doing the things that we need to do to cleanse our internal terrain, to get rid of the nasty, swampy, dirty fish tank internal terrain. Because if we're eating high animal products like was shared, right? In this book, Your Body Never Lies, you see the things that result from it. Obesity, bad breath, huge thighs, big bellies, huge butts, big arms. That is not natural, nor it's common, but it's not normal and it's not natural. It is a result of the things that we are doing today for the last 100 years, if you will, right? It's starting to catch up. We're starting to see the effects of this. People are not living nearly as long as people lived years and years and years ago. And it's because we have processed food on the market, right? That was like the big thing. We got cigarettes out here. We're smoking everything. We're drinking all kinds of alcohol. If you are dealing with alopecia, totalis, universalis, or areata, you can reverse it. You don't have to deal with the embarrassment, but you got to stop doing the things that are causing you to have it, right? There is a root issue. And if you're just tuning in, go back to the beginning, watch it from the beginning. There are a lot of factors that play into why this shows up in people, both emotionally and from the physical perspective, as well as what you're putting in your body on a daily basis. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for being here and for tuning in. Be sure to share this far and wide, right? That is your token of thank you. That is your token of appreciation for getting this valuable information. I can't reach the masses, but you can help me to reach them, right? So be sure to share this far and wide. Watch it again. Take notes. Figure out where your deficiency lies. Figure out what it is that you need to shift or change. Make excuses or make it happen. I need you to understand that healing is yours. Healing is yours. So take care of your body so that your body can take care of you. Health doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye for now. Oops. What was that? How do I watch this live from the beginning? Once I post it, I'm going to put a caption to it, and I'm going to post it. You can come right back to my page and you can watch it from here, or you can watch it over on YouTube. I'm Womb Therapist over there. All right. Bye, guys. I love you.